Hello and welcome to the Team Up Now podcast. Today we've got a really special episode, somebody that I've been really excited to get onto the podcast for a long time. So we've got Rovie Peralta, who's a content creator. She's somebody that has been able to build a really big audience on Instagram and TikTok, and somebody that I really wanted to get on the podcast because she talks a lot about the differences between Filipino and Australian culture. And obviously with our business straddling that line, it's really interesting for me. So welcome, Rovie.
Oh, thank you, Julius. I appreciate you inviting me here, and I really am glad to have an Australian watch my content. So for those who don't know, I am Rovie, or the Mommy Roves. You can see me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. And you're spot on, Julius. I do talk about my life as a Filipino migrant here in Australia because there's a lot of things that you need to learn when you move here. And that's my platform so that people can see and understand how it's like living here in Australia.
So how did you get here? Like what was the thinking behind moving to Australia? Because it's such a big move.
It is. So that's a really good question, Julius. And that's one thing I learned in Australia. What a good question. If you want to have more time to think about your answer, just say, what a good question. But it is. So back in 2017, my husband had the opportunity to move to Australia. He was transferred from Manila office, the Sydney office. But prior to that, a year before that, we were in Australia for a tour. We were invited to attend a wedding here, and we flew here as a family. My son was just 1 year old back then, and I fell in love with Australia and how different the life here is. It's so comfortable. There's a lot of little things that you realize is so important, like having, trains that are on time, the bus stops, and you have buses that go down, like the platforms go down so that you can easily...
No jeepneys.
No jeepneys. And it's clean, and it's also very calm, chill, I must say, and I fell in love. So I told my husband, I cannot wait to live in Australia. Flying back to the Philippines, I was literally on tears. I was crying. And he said, you know what, I'll find a way. And the good thing about it is he works for an Australian company who has an office in the Philippines. And he kind of just asked his manager if there's an opportunity for him or for us to move to Australia. And everything is history. So that's where it started.
He must be working for an amazing company because I know from my experience, there's so many Filipinos would love that opportunity.
Yes.
But for someone to actually give that opportunity, that's such an amazing thing.
Yes, he is. It's a very, very good opportunity. And they found a way for him to be here. And the good thing is he has never left the company since then. So it became one of his reasons to remain loyal. So, yeah.
What you mentioned the things that you loved about Australia, but what do you miss about the Philippines?
Oh, a lot. So I just came from the Philippines a week ago, and you would really see the difference in the lifestyle. Number one, a lot of things are open till late in the Philippines. I cannot remember the last time I was able to have sisig and drinks and Starbucks at 11, 12 midnight. That is not something you can find in Australia. So that's the first major difference. The second is the level of service that we have in the Philippines. You go shopping in SM, there's 10 sales associates, salespeople wanting to help you. But if you go shop in Kmart, you'll be like, hi, I need help. So those are the things that I miss in the Philippines. And of course, being close to family. I think being in the Philippines, you always have that one family member or a friend that you can rely on to who's always available to be with you. And that's what we, I think, don't have as migrants here in Australia.
Yeah. Do you feel like, because I know you've been here for 8 years, do you feel like you've started to build that a little bit, or is it just, it's never going to be the same as what it was in the Philippines?
Good. Yeah, I think because I've been here for 8 years, I was able to make friends here in Australia. I don't have direct family members here in Australia, but I managed to develop friendships that are really good and genuine. And I know that even if, for example, especially for parents, I'm sure they will relate. Sometimes work could be very busy and you don't have someone to pick up your child in school. And when you have friends that you have developed good relationships with, you can ask that friend or a neighbor if
Yep.
they can look after your kid, pick them up just this one time. And I think I was able to do that. And that's very important for Filipinos who are moving here as well.
Yeah, it's something that I never understood until I started Team Up Now. Like in the Philippines, I've noticed that, if somebody in, like, say in Isa's hometown that she's friends with is having a baby, like 4 or 5 of her friends will all go and stay with her like 2 weeks
Yes.
before the baby's born. And, it's almost like a community baby almost.
Yes.
And I think that that's a huge difference to Australia. Like,
Yes, that's what I always tell to people. Like in the Philippines, you have a sense of community. You have like they always say it takes a village to raise a child. And we're lucky in the Philippines that we actually have a village
yeah,
to help us out. I remember my son when he was born, I have my mom-in-law in our house, my mom in my house. I have my grandma there as well. So they're all just all there to help you out. And when you go to Australia, that is something that you will definitely miss. Like
Yeah.
it will take you quite some time to develop friendships or find people you trust. Yeah. So that's it.
How do you see the difference between how your son's growing up in Australia versus how you grew up at the same age in the Philippines?
Good question. I think it's universal, not just in Philippines or in Australia, but also I think with technology. I think in Philippines you get to play in the streets. I told you I just went home and I saw a lot of kids playing on the streets, and that's probably what my son missed out on. Like it's always just once a month catch up with friends. We have play dates here, and that's what I didn't. That's what he did not get to experience. That feeling of being outside and just probably like riding a tricycle, riding. He rides bikes in Philippines, but in Australia. But the difference is in the Philippines. You will ride the bike and you will like what do you call it in I cannot say it in English, but in Tagalog like you will have to watch out for the tricycles
Yeah.
and all the things that are in the road. But in Australia, it's more quiet. It's more, you can go to a park
Very
and
demure.
it's very demure. In Philippines, it's a bit more rough. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's the main difference. And also I think my son enjoyed his time in the Philippines because everyone just wants to feed him there. Like growing up in the Philippines, you have like all your auntie, all your lola. You have 10 lolas in the Philippines. You have 20 titas in the Philippines who would just want to feed you. But of course here, because it's just the 3 of us, we're a bit more solitary, I must say. Like I don't want to say the word lonely, but we get used to just being able to be ourselves, like be on our own.
Me and your son have one thing super in common. I love Jollibee.
Yes.
It's like my favorite thing. As soon as I get off
Do
the
you like
plane,
it?
yeah.
Do you like the spaghetti even if it's sweet?
Yeah. I mean, look, I obviously love Italian pasta,
Uh,
but there's something about the sweet spaghetti that I can't get enough of. Like my team make so much fun because I think I'm the only person in my team that actually loves Jollibee.
oh wow.
Like they'll choose McDonald's over Jollibee. But for me, like as soon as I land, I go to the Jollibee in the airport and I eat it.
That's good. What's your favorite meal in Jollibee?
I go the spaghetti and chicken.
Yes.
Do you go the spicy or the?
No, I just like the normal chicken, but I
Yeah.
like the palabok one. I'm such an old person now. I used to hate it, but now I love it.
That's
So,
is
yeah.
that the steak?
Sorry.
Which one? That's a steak.
No, the palabok is the rice noodles with the
Ah, rice
orange
noodles.
sauce.
Yeah,
Yummy. You should try it when you're back in Philippines.
yeah. The first time I had Jollibee was in Singapore and it wasn't good. And then I had it in Vietnam and it was better.
Yep.
And then, but like you can't even compare it to the Filipino
Oh,
Jollibee.
that's good. But I'm curious, Julius, now that you brought up Jollibee and that you like it so much, what other things about the Philippines that you like?
About the Philippines?
Yeah, or let's say
Filipinos?
Filipinos.
Look, I think I've got a team of close to 30 Filipinos, and I think that the thing that I respect most about them is their resilience and their ability to still show up every day, even with everything that goes on in their country. Like in the last 3 weeks, there's been 2 typhoons, made like big typhoons.
Yes.
there's been 2 major earthquakes. And if I can imagine if that happened in Australia, how much like, mayhem there would be, and people would be like, taking sick days and all that kind of stuff. Like, but my team in the Philippines, unless it like super affected them, they don't have power and electricity and, mobile and all that type of stuff. It's like nothing happened, but then you're looking at the news and it's like this crazy thing. So I think just the ability to not get bogged down by bad things is one of the things I love about Filipinos. I think Filipinos are probably the kindest people on earth.
Yes.
Like if a Filipino person has $1 and you ask for 50 cents, they're going to give it to you no matter what.
I definitely agree.
And I think that's something that like is just part of the culture.
Yeah.
I think the family orientedness of Filipinos is an amazing thing to watch. Like I had a staff member who she's 22, started with me a couple 4 weeks ago, and we paid her first salary, and her first thing that she did was take her family out for dinner.
Of course, definitely. But I really appreciate that. That's what you see with Filipinos. I remember you said earlier that Filipinos are resilient. We work hard. We're resilient. Like no matter what happens, we will show up. I just want to share to you that's one of my culture shock in Australia as well, because when I started working for an Australian boss, they find me too intense. I don't know. It's a good
Really?
thing. I think they find me too intense because I'm like I don't know if it's a Filipino thing, but we really want to work hard. We really want to make sure that we always get the best performance out there. And I think the impression about me is I'm too intense. Like I want to be this. And I don't know, in one of my skits I talk about not leaving work on time because we just want to work. And I remember getting in trouble because I'm supposed to leave at 5, but I'm still there at quarter past 5. I now speak like an Australian. I'm still there at quarter past 5. And they said to me like I should not do that in Australia because I'm introducing a culture that's not present, which I didn't know. But because for me as a Filipino, it's ingrained in our culture that we work extra hard. Like no matter what happens, we will show up, we will do the job, we will be there. But that is one thing I had to unlearn, is because I have to be more. I don't know if it's not about being time efficient, but I have to be more conscious of the time, because it's gonna disrupt the culture of the workplace that I'm working with. So that's what I need to learn. I need to relax a bit, not to be a bit intense, but just be more like breathe and leave on time and show up on time.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that one?
I completely agree. Like we've had team members before that, we've got similar feedback about them, because I think Australia's working culture can be one where it's like she'll be right type attitude, right? And if somebody has that intense feeling, they actually like put off the other team members because like there's just one person that's coming in and like doing that. But I think it's about finding like something in the middle. Like I on my LinkedIn, I've written about this before. It's like if you're hiring someone overseas, it doesn't matter if it's Philippines, India, wherever, you have to have some understanding, okay, well, this is their culture, and be able to say, okay, they're going to do this. So, we did some skits before about sir and madam and all that type of stuff. There has to be some meeting in the middle. You can't just like go, oh, I'm in Australia, so the Filipinos are going to have to do it my way. And I think a manager onshore, when you come back to the 2 and 10s, you have to read it the right way as well. And I think that's sometimes what gets missed in outsourcing. It's where like the onshore client will be like, oh, they're doing this. And then it's up to us to go, yeah, but this is their culture. This is what's happening, et cetera, et cetera. It's probably a little bit different for you because you are here. So it's like, okay, we have to like, you probably have to like meet us a little bit more. Where you're at. But it's a very interesting thing because I think Australians and Filipinos aren't so different, but then there are these funny differences that can like trip you up a bit.
It's just little things, but those little things are actually very big in the broader like spread. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but it's little things, but it can actually create like a big impact if you don't adjust, like, or you don't
Yeah.
like blend in or try to at least meet halfway with your Australian bosses or Australian clients.
One of the things I've noticed is the use of sorry. So Filipinos will often, like, you'll say, hey, have you done this? And the answer will be, sorry, I haven't done it.
Yeah.
But they've got, like, an Australian's looking at it saying, well, you've got nothing to be sorry about. It's not like you've done something wrong or you've maliciously done anything to me. So why are you saying sorry?
Yeah.
But for Filipino side, it's like a cultural thing that you should be, you're showing respect. So that's something that, like, I've seen a lot. Like, is that
Yeah.
something that you
No,
felt?
yeah, I remember when I first did my job as a sales representative, I had a manager who told me like he's gonna get $1 every time I say sorry because I'm like, oh, have you eaten? Oh, sorry, I haven't. I'm like, I'm just asking you if you've eaten lunch and why are you saying sorry? I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, have you sent the file to me? Oh, sorry, I haven't. I know. I mean, you're supposed to send it to me tomorrow, but I'm just checking in.
Yeah.
So I think he got, like, he was telling me, like, if I can get $1 every time you're saying sorry, I could be rich. Because,
Yeah.
and that is one thing I had to unlearn, like, how to not say, I still do it, but I think I'm doing it less. Probably I'm just saying it 5 times now instead of 20 a day.
Is that a day?
Yeah.
Look, I think it's a small thing, but the on, like, the Australian manager side, what it says is, like, it shows a lack of confidence in an Australian mind. So it's like, because you're always
Oh, so
apologizing.
it shows lack of confidence.
Yeah, because
Oh,
it's
thank
like,
you.
because when an Australian hears it, they think like, oh, they're not sure about it. That's why they're saying sorry, rather than the respect that you're trying to show.
Oh, thank you. In that aspect, Julius, I know I'm a guest here, but because I do content to help Filipinos immerse in Australian culture and get to learn. But apart from that thing, what else do you think should Filipinos improve on or should not misconceive? Misconceive, is that the right term? Like, for example, like us saying sorry, for us it's a show of respect, but for you it's a show of lack of confidence. What other things do you think we should work on or improve?
One thing I've noticed is there's a respect thing in terms of, like, if I'm on a Zoom call with a team that's, there might be new staff members or whatever, even if you directly ask them a question,
Yeah.
they don't answer, because it's almost like a respect thing that, why should they be talking on a call? And then again, it comes back to, like, if I'm looking at it from an Australian lens, I just think they don't know the answer. When they probably do know the answer, they're just like, I'm the most junior person on this call. I don't want to put my hand up and say something.
Oh,
Have you noticed that?
you
at all?
are blowing my mind as we speak because I probably as you say things to me, I'm probably reflecting back on my own because I don't really speak on meetings as
Yeah.
well. Not because we don't know the answer, just because we don't want to be thought of as someone who's what's it, mayabang, know it all. Like, we don't want to sound like as if we're showy or we're like
Yeah.
I can't say it. Like, we call it in the Philippines as pabibo or pabida. They probably know it, but we don't want to be like pabibo in a call or like,
Yeah.
show off. We just try to like keep it ourselves. And it's for us just more of respect. And we'll probably tell you the answer after the call or something like that. But what I did, and I think what the Australian people find it funny is I always raise my hand. Like, even on Zoom meetings, I don't know if you got, I don't know. I don't see Australian people do it, but I'm like, I'll do that. I know it's a podcast, but
I think it's a good thing to.
I'll do that because I think it's a sign of respect. And for me as well, when I was new, I thought that Australians were rude because people are just talking on top of people.
Mhm.
Like, you could be my manager and you're discussing things, and a colleague will pop like I will say something,
Yeah.
and it's just, and I was like, wait, isn't that rude? Why are you talking on top of the manager? But I think it's the culture of speaking up and just allowing people to talk. But for us, I was like, I have an idea. So I think I've been working 7-8 years now, but I'm still like that.
Yeah.
But I think it's just the awareness of my colleagues and my managers as well. They know that I came from a different culture, so they try to check in on me
Yeah.
and see if I want to say something. Yeah. How do you encourage Filipinos like me to not be shy and speaking up?
Yeah, I think it's about being able to get their trust to be able to do it. So if they do speak up, not like encourage it and not say like be negative when they're speaking up. I think that's the best way, because you have to give people the space to be able to do it, especially like other cultures that aren't necessarily going to do it naturally. So I think that's probably the best way to be able to get people to speak up. And in my team, we're getting there. Like we've got an internal team of 5 people, and there's 2 or 3 that will just yell ideas at me.
Oh, that's good.
And there's 1 or 2 that they're getting there, but it takes time. I think as you mature as well, you're more likely to do it. You're more likely to understand the Western culture a little bit more. Some of my younger team, they're still scared to do it, but they'll get there.
Yeah, probably just start slow when you're trying to speak up. But yeah, I think that's one of my misconceptions as well. Like now that I'm starting to speak up, they appreciate it more. You get to be popular at work when you speak up, because you have so much ideas. But speak up nicely, I think. Yeah,
I think that's a sad thing. It's like, because you just touched on it, because you do have great ideas for your work, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't speak up, then they don't get heard. And that's the thing that I worry about getting missed with like people that are quiet in meetings.
Yeah.
Is that there's probably some amazing ideas that just get lost because they didn't have the courage, or they didn't have, it wasn't part of the culture to be able to do it. So it's one of those things that's like a work in progress for sure.
That's good.
So Rovie, I wanted to talk to you about your social media. Like, how did you get started in content creation?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's really funny because pandemic feels like a long time ago, but everybody else during the pandemic, we're all bored at home, and we all discovered this app called TikTok, and we kind of like just shared videos. And for me, my goal back then was to just share my experiences as a Filipino migrant in Australia. I remember one of my first content that blew up was the thongs.
Yeah.
Like I created this skit where we're going to the beach, and I asked my friend to bring thongs, and I brought thongs, which is, pair of underwear. But in Australia, I still get confused up to this point, even if I've been living here for many, many years, when they say, this thongs looks really good. Because I was just in Nusa and they were talking about thongs. And I'm like, if you're in Nusa, in the beach, and you're talking about thongs, you can actually think of the underwear and not the slippers, or we call it, I think, flip-flops.
Yeah.
And I think during that time, because when I started, or when I first moved to Australia, I only had one friend. And when I went on looking for jobs, it was very difficult for me to understand, the interview process. And even when I got hired, my first job was a call center agent, like a customer service representative in Australia. And the amount of times where I almost, did not do my job correctly is because I did not understand what the other person is asking me to do.
Yeah.
It's just literally lost in translation. And I started sharing that online, and like how little words confused me a lot. And that's it. It's like I just really wanted to share. The good thing about video content is it became a trend. Like a lot of people reached it. A lot of people are watching it. And that's how I started my content journey, just sharing about my life. And I appreciate that even if I've been doing it for many years now, people still message me and still thank me that they're able to either go to Australia or perform well in their jobs, or just understand their managers or their boss. And it really, it warms my heart to know that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I can't remember which was the first video that I saw, but it was like literally like, I reckon it was around the pandemic, maybe a little bit after, maybe 2021.
Thank you. I appreciate it when a non-Filipino sees my content, because I know that Filipinos will see my content. But to have someone like you who's an Australian, it's making me blush. So I really appreciate it.
I think it's because, like, obviously I've got the team in the Philippines, so it must have somehow got into my algorithm.
Oh, thank you.
But it really spoke to me because, like we've been chatting about today, like the differences, but coming at it from such a funny way of looking at it.
And I try to make it funny because sometimes it's another thing about Filipinos. We love humor.
Yeah.
We love addressing things in a humorous way. I think it's a very Filipino thing.
Yeah.
Like you don't know, like right now in the Philippines, there are a lot of things happening. You know, you will not see like if the corruption happened in Australia, things are serious. But in the Philippines, they're making skits about it.
Yeah.
So it's just my way to educate is because when you add humor into it, the more that they
Yeah.
engage and the more they learn and the more they like and share the content. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I know that you do, and like we don't need to talk about it, but I know you do share some more like serious sides of your life.
Yes.
How do you reconcile like, how the stuff that you put out in terms of the funny versus the serious, and like where do you want to situate yourself in terms of what you're showing the world? Because obviously,
I know. Thank you. So, I know with my content, I started being funny, la la la, and as life, life goes through a process. So I also share about my family, my move, but at the same time, I experience, unfortunately, some things happened at work and mental health, and I try to kind of like slowly share that. With my mental health, I probably try to do it more into like writing style because it's hard to create like a video content
yeah,
about it. So what I tend to do is I share photos, I write about it, and through that, because written English is different from spoken English,
yeah,
and I think with very serious topic like mental health, workplace bullying. I know you're
yeah,
a manager, you own a company, but being able to write it and being able to have people read it and reflect on it is also really good. So
yeah,
that's how I kind of like share it. Like I keep all my humorous content on a video
yeah,
and I keep all my serious content on a written way so that people can resonate more and I think I can express more serious things
yeah.
written as well. And thank you for bringing that up, Julius, because I have a lot of Filipinos as well, and even non-Filipinos message me on Facebook or Instagram, thanking thanking me that I
Yeah.
spoke up about it, and they also share their own life stories, and it is so heartwarming. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
I can imagine. Like even myself, I went through something last year,
yeah,
and I remember when you first started sharing about that type of stuff. It actually spoke to me as well because I was like, there's other people that are going through
yeah,
things, and it makes you feel less like alone in what you
yeah.
go through. So I think it's really commendable that you do like be honest and truthful in terms of like putting out that type of content.
Thank you. And I think it's also not, when you talk about mental health or sadness, I don't want to say the word depression, it's too depressing.
Yeah.
But when you talk about mental health, you don't think about how workplace can actually impact your mental health until I experienced it, because you always think of, loss, grief, heartbreak, like with mental health. But when it comes to workplace, like actually has a big impact to you as well because you put your heart on it, you give your loyalty to it, and then to have that unfortunate experience in a workplace where you spend most of your time.
I was gonna say, like,
Yeah.
you spend more time
At
there
work.
than you
Yeah.
do awake at home, right?
Yeah.
Like you're at work 8 hours a day, and you come home, you cook dinner, you sit down for a bit. It's like 4 or 5 hours, and you go to bed,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah,
So
that's what I was telling like to people when they reach out to me and they say like thank you for speaking up about this, like workplace bullying, mental health. And I tell them it is actually valid because yeah, you spend 8 hours working, you build their trust, you give yourself to them, and then you go home, you only probably have 2, 3 hours with your family.
yeah,
And then you do the cycle, like you do the process over again. And in asking that, because you're on a company, Julius, and I'm sure you foster a good working environment. How do you make sure like that you look after your employees and their mental health?
look, it's a difficult one because often staff don't actually tell you how they're feeling. Like
Yeah.
they will say, something bad will happen, and they'll just be like, especially being Filipino with the resilient stuff that we're talking about before, they're just gonna say, "I'm okay," blah blah
Yeah.
blah. I remember one specific staff member, new starter. She was too scared to ask for something, so we'd only hired her part time, and it was like 4 hours, but it was like she was too stretched to be able to do what she was doing in 4 hours, but she didn't have the confidence to say something about it. So we had an internal meeting and I could just see that there was something wrong with her, right? So I was like, okay, well, I'll give her a call and just like try to pull it out of her. What is the problem? Like I could see it was something to do with work, but I wasn't sure exactly what it was. And then after like 15 minutes of like probing, we got to, I'm working 5 hours, but only getting paid for 4. And I'm like, okay, so now you're getting paid for 5 hours from like today onwards and it comes back to what you were saying before about like the Filipino thing of, showing up, but she was showing up too much where instead of telling me that she wasn't able to do her work in 4 hours, she was doing it in 5. So I think that it's really about being an empathetic leader that's able to ask the questions that get the answers, and knowing that every staff member is different. So you can't just say, I'm hiring Filipinos. You have to drill in and go, okay, well, this one's a bit more outgoing. This one's a little bit less outgoing. This one likes to be managed. This one likes to get freedom. And then, being able to lead or manage your team based on their style. Because I have team members that I'll talk to once a week because I know they just want to be free and like they'll check in and I'm like, yep, everything's done. Everything looks good. And they're happy. Yeah. But then there's ones that I'm talking to 3, 4, 5 times a day. Yeah. So I think it's about really being able to put yourself in their shoes, understand what they need.
Yeah, and I think that's what I appreciate with you and Team Up now as well, because I know that most of your employees are based in the Philippines, and you as a leader wanting to understand our culture, like you acknowledge that we don't tend to speak up. We tend to be quiet and we just tend to like say yes, 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 yes. And also us as Filipinos understanding Australians as well. Because sometimes one of the things I had to adjust was I really thought that Australians are rude because you are just direct. Like, just do this. And I'm like, am I doing something wrong? Like, but it's not. Like, it's just really, like, I think, I'm not sure if all Australians, but I think culturally Australians are a bit more direct. You tell what you want us to do. But us, we tend to be like, we kind of like, we kind of like dance before we kind of like do a dance before we actually say what you want. And that's a good thing because having this conversations like with me as a Filipino and you as an Australian manager, it's also giving us more idea as to how not to misinterpret like certain things that an Australian boss or Australian colleague will say. But at the same time, Australian colleagues not to misinterpret Filipinos as well, because sometimes there's differences in culture and that will foster more like, courage and confidence for Filipinos. So
yeah, for sure. We're coming to the end. It's been an amazing episode. So happy to have got you on board.
Oh no, thank you.
Is there any messages that you want to give to the listeners and the watchers?
Oh yes. So for those people who are wanting like to migrate to Australia or working for Australian bosses like Julius here, Team Up now. I hope you listened to our episode today. I just want to tell you that don't be afraid to like speak up. And I really appreciate people who are trying to learn and know more about the Australian culture. And just don't be afraid to like ask questions and speak your mind, but be respectful about it. And also don't be confused with the Australian culture because they could sound rude and direct, but they're just like us. They just like to have fun, as what you call it. They're just larrikins. I don't know if you know that. They're just a bunch of larrikins. I learned that from my boss. Yeah. So, but thanks for having me, Julius.
Thank you. And where can people find you?
Oh, you can find me everywhere. I'm on Instagram. It's at the Mommy Roves. Similar username on TikTok at the Mommy Roves. It's the Mommy Roves on Facebook. And for the younger people out there, I'm also on YouTube. But I know the people who watch, they're very, very young people. But yeah, I'm everywhere. So if you want to learn about Australian culture or you want to have a laugh about being a Filipino mom, it's all in my social. So thank you again, Julius, for having me. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.